Good morning, good morning, good morning, coffee moaners. Good morning. Welcome. Another week beckons. It's another Monday. Tell me why I don't like Mondays. Morning, Monday gang, says Laura Bishop. Welcome if you're listening on podcast. Nadia sends her love. She's back tomorrow on her birthday. She's going to be back more regularly. She was away for a week. How are we all? It's a big week this week. It's a massive week in terms of Epstein news, in terms of votes, in terms of developments. Re Gaza. Hi, Michelle Nye. How are you, sweetie? Morning, Elaine Denning. Roots Radix. It's a big week. There's going to be a lot of churning news around certainly the Epstein files. And I think Donald Trump has already this week tried to get the week off to a start where he gets ahead of it. So we're going to talk about that. Morning, Reese. We are going to be discussing also this morning Labour's announcement of their asylum seeking solutions. The reason I kind of just want to kind of touch upon that, it's always we as a family, I think we politically feel it's a spurious argument that asylum seekers and immigration is the cause of as many problems as people like to make out. But given that is the debate that everyone's having out there, we thought we may as well talk about what the Labour Party are deciding to do, the Danish solution, as they're calling it. And we're also going to discuss who's BUBBA. Who the hell's BUBBA? Who's Donald Trump supposedly blown? BUBBA. It relates to the Epstein files. It's quite adult. These are adult lives. So any children, any youngsters sort of in the near vicinity, perhaps clear them out of the way this morning. We're going to be talking about pretty adult themes, especially given that we've also got a film, an incredibly moving film by some of the victims of the Epstein grooming gang. Let's call it what it is. They've issued a film, or they've released a film, very moving, very sensitive, ahead of this vote about whether they should release the Epstein files in America. So we're going to talk about that. But first of all, I just want to check in with you all. And again, if you're listening on podcast, I will be playing clips. I've got a few funnies. We're going to be talking about the gyrations in the Epstein story. I really want us as a corner of YouTube, as a small, tiny little slice of the kind of independent news, what's the word? If not news gathering, news debate, to not forget the direct connection between the Epstein files, which is awful, which are awful in every conceivable way, and Israel, and Gaza, and Israel. It strikes me that even though the Israel connection is really front and center in the Jeffrey Epstein story, it still keeps managing to be kind of sidelined or marginalized or just plainly ignored by the mainstream media. So there are direct connections, there are direct correlations between the two things. So we will never cease to keep pushing that connection. It's not spurious, it's directly related to Epstein being an Israeli intelligence agent. So we're going to talk about that too. Kathy Hyde Photography says, I was crying, laughing in bed last night, trying to explain who BUBBA was to my husband. Okay, so BUBBA, MeTube channel, MeTube, South Park will need to add BUBBA as a character. Yeah, this is. I don't know why, it just makes me laugh. I mean, Mental Marky uploaded something on Instagram today. He was talking about BB last week, and now it's BUBBA, and all these stupid kind of, fucking infantile toddler chat. And on that, actually, I rephrase that. I'm not going to use toddler as an insult. We had the most remarkable toddler in the house this weekend. She was absolutely beautiful and far more sophisticated than virtually any other adult I know. I don't. So when what do this is going to be fun. It's not fun. I mean, well, the Epstein files are not fun. But we talked about it on Saturday or Friday or some point. A satire and trying to target the awfulness of it all with humor is one tool of many to unpick the awfulness of it all. Should have seen his face, says Kathy Hyde. I really wish I could. I wish you could send me a photo of his face. I mean, I'm curious to know what you said about Bubba, given that there is, let's be fair, there are question marks as to who Bubba is. Now, for anyone who's thinking, what the fuck is going on here? Bubba. Okay, Bubba. Bubba is the name. I think I showed the email, didn't I, over the weekend on our last Coffee Moaning. Bubba is the email from, I think it's Mark Epstein, isn't it? It's from Jeffrey Epstein's brother to to Jeffrey Epstein, in which he said this: ask him, as in ask Trump. So this is ask Trump if Putin has the photos of Trump blowing Bubba. Now, many have kind of sought to connect that. I mean, we had a very sincere question from one of our youngest members of the family who said, has Donald Trump had a gay relationship with Bill Clinton? Now, in the spirit of total, you know, if Trump is gay, no one's got a problem with that. The only person who's probably got a problem with that is him. So there's no issue with gayness. There's no issue with him blowing anyone, as long as it's legal, as long as it's consensual. And that's the problem with everything surrounding Epstein. How much of it was and how much of it wasn't. So Bubba, who did you? Kathy, was it Kathy Hyde? Did you name Bubba to your husband? Did you put a name on it, or did you go, well, it's suggested, it could be, it's oh, look at that, Raspberry. Oh no, it wasn't Raspberry. Sorry, Gabrielle 6326. The LGBT community would kick him out. Jenny J0007. I don't think he's gay, to be fair. Bubblegum F. Oh, what? Yes, act. Hubba Bubba. Hubba Bubba. That was it. I was calling it Bubbalicious. I think it's Hubba Bubba. Is Bubba drugs? Says Fanta. Oh God, you're so. Bubba means dad in Arabic. Oh God. Blowing dad. Oh my God, that was a different perspective on it. Hang on a minute. So could Epstein, in an Islamophobic slur, because he was a keen IDF Zionist supporter, could he have been invoking, or the Epsteins, could they have been invoking Bubba? Ask him if Putin has the photos of Trump blowing. But oh my God, hang on. You may have, Murder She Wrote, you may have hit upon something. Ask him if Putin has the photos of Trump blowing. Could Bubba be Epstein? Oh my God. And you know how there is that way in which racists, colonialists, Islamophobes, and anti-Semites in the other direction use names of the opposite or opposing, or the cultures that they deride and despise. They use them in a sort of pernicious way. Maybe, but would a brother I mean, they're all so fucking lurid and disgusting. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Mark Epstein, is it Mark Epstein? Yeah, Epstein's brother. I mean, imagine sending these emails as grown men. I mean, what really is interesting about all these emails, though, it does speak to a time where obviously everyone was like, oh, none of this stuff's going to be held on to. None of this stuff, no one's going to read this. No one's going to see this. MeTube throws in another possible explanation for Bubba. Probably an inflatable unicorn, or one of those inflatable. God, you're giving that some detail, MeTube. Do you think actually maybe it could be? Kathy Hyde, I'm interested in your giggling in bed with your husband. Well, have in mind he's not on any social media. We're now talking, everyone, about, if you're listening on podcast, Kathy Hyde Photography, one of our dear members, her husband, her conversation with her husband in bed. She said, well, have in mind he's not on any social media, so now knows nothing. I first started opener for 5 with it might be Clinton, but I continue to say that Epstein's brother denies it's Clinton. So it might be Bubba I think that's an emoji of a cat, is it? Or a dog or a horse? Bubba the horse. Have I cracked the Murder She Wrote? I think you might have done. So let me just, for those of you, in the spirit of have we got a breaking news story? Murder She Wrote reminded us, I think it was Murder She Wrote. Well, a couple of you have said it. Al-Zaran, hang on, knocks this to the side. Al-Zaran says that Clinton was known as Bubba. Okay, well, Bubba, the Arabic word or name for a father, could have been being used in a derogatory fashion, i.e., let's call him Bubba. But you're right. Who was the most senior person at the time? It could have been either Epstein. Unlikely that a brother would surely talk to his own brother about being blown by anyone. Or it could be the next most senior person, which is Clinton. You weren't calling it Bubblicious, Mad Marky was. Yes, that's right. Mental Marky was. I didn't. Horse, Elaine Dennings just shouted in the chat room. She just shouted horse. Musical chimp. I don't think it was a joke at all. They never thought they would get caught. You're right. I mean, if I think back to, does anyone remember their first ever email address? I think mine was introduced to me by a dear chap called Jake, an editor who I met recently. And I think the platform was, does anyone sort of have a mind that goes this far back towards emails? Excite, was that an email? Was there an email called Excite, or a server called Excite or something like that? Shauna Roche, Epstein was friends with Saudi Prince Mohammed, wasn't he? Could he be Bubba? My God, can I just say, guys, I think we're getting further in our analysis. No, you're absolutely right, Alzaran. Loads of homophobes are into guys, typical men, which is going to unfortunately lead us probably to Tommy Robinson in a minute. Yeah, Epstein was friends with Saudi Arabia, Mohammed, wasn't he? Could he be Bubba? I think we're making more progress than any of the mainstream or independent media right now. The Young Turks can swing one. So, yeah, he said it's fake. So anyway, so yeah, who's Bubba? Could it be Clinton? I mean, I also noticed, can anyone tell me, is the footage, which I haven't found because I forgot, I found it sort of, because I actually thought it must be AI, is the footage of Donald Trump leaning down to rapidly and frantically almost brush clean, it would seem, the crutch area of Bill Clinton at a golf club? Is that real? Or was that AI? Because when I saw it, I thought, that can't be real, especially with the Bubba, Blue Bubba story. Or is this a major distraction? Look at eyes off. No, don't worry, Sheila. The great thing about this channel is we can have all eyes on all things. And we are going to be talking about Gaza in this live. Don't worry. And plus also the whole Epstein thing is, and I have a strong theory, helped along actually by Marjorie Taylor Greene, that all of the gyrations, the denial, the now reversal, the U-turn that Trump's engaged in today in the last 12 hours of, and I'll show you his post saying, release the Epstein files. It's all tied up with the paymaster general of America, American government, which is Israel. Well, look, if Bubba was Bibi, that just makes for a ludicrous sentence. That means Trump blew Bibi the Bubba. Everything about that is just horrendous. It's real footage. Oh, Alzaran, thank you. I hope you're well, Alzaran. Are you still near the Gagosian? I'm heading up that way soon. It's real footage. I wasn't shocked by that. Men horsing around like that. There's not. I mean, I've horsed around, but not like that. Bill Clinton's name was never Bubba, says Michu. Oh, right, okay. I suspect that MAGA's, Bubba, MAGA, Bibi, Steve Bannon, that's MAGA, Steve Bannon speculation. So anyway, will we ever know who Bubba was? Why don't we just ask Mark Epstein? Why doesn't someone doorstep Jeffrey Epstein's brother and say, who the fuck was Bubba, mate? And get on with it. Okay, so let's go. I think we should start by going to Donald Trump's Truth Social account. Always an interesting place for untruths and for exaggerations. Oh, brilliant, Alzara. And so here we go. So here Donald Trump reposted a post by David Schoen on X. And this post by Donald Trump 3 hours ago from when I screenshotted it this morning. It's a Democrat hoax for purposes of deflection. I like that word, deflection. Just like Russia scam. They had the sleazy relationships with Epstein and should be prosecuted. And he's reposted this. David Schoen says, if Jeffrey Epstein had any dirt on Donald Trump, he would have had great leverage in the criminal case against him at the time he died. The fact that he unequivocally said he had none ought to shut down the false claims otherwise. But facts are no obstacle to political attacks. Now, I want to say something maybe a little bit contentious, and this is something I know a number of you guys have felt all the way through this. I certainly know YouTube has. I'm of the opinion that more than likely, Donald Trump hasn't necessarily done anything illegal. I think we know what his attitude to women is. It's hideous. It's repulsive. I've got some clips to show to prove that. Again, we know he's dubious. This doesn't mean he hasn't done anything wrong in his life. Absolutely. I mean, one doesn't know, and one can't prove that, and one can't state that without proof. But his tone, his attitude, and his approach to women speaks to that. I think there are huge question marks over how much he knew of the legalities around what was going on. And I think that's a big question in terms of, has he lied about not knowing when he has known and he did know? So I think that's entirely dubious. But I think I'm increasingly getting to the point now where I don't necessarily think there is incriminating footage or photographs. There might be. I mean, this is just, one keeps going with the flow with this. I'm just sharing where I'm at and see whether you guys agree with this. I think where he's at is he's in a position where if the full tranche of whatever information it is, I mean, it's up for debate what the Epstein files are now. Could they have been doctored? Could they have been altered? Could they be unrelated to certain, I mean, we've got no idea. Yeah, I mean, Mitri, if you don't think he's abused any of the Epstein women, he probably did know about the rumors around the Epsteins, exactly. And that doesn't mean he hasn't done anything wrong in his own life, but that's, again, it proves. So, because I just got this strong feeling that by now, surely, if anyone had the absolutely incriminating evidence that was a slam dunk, it would have fallen into the public realm somewhere. So I think what the whole Trump's resistance up until now, because he's changed it says Trump U-turns over Epstein files as we get to the vote, as America votes, as the Congress votes on whether to release the Epstein files. Though, again, as we've said many times, what the fuck is in them now? Kash Patel looks like he's spent many late nights burning the oil and kind of going through the Epstein files. So whatever we get, we need to be, it's a bit like the NASA photos that are about to be released of the interstellar comet. Can we trust them when you've held on to them this long? Can we trust them? That's the big question mark. All of that said, I think the problem for Trump and the problem for Israel is that huge numbers of those people who will be implicated, and ironically, I don't necessarily think Trump will be directly implicated in illegal abusive behavior in these files, but so many of those people who are or will be or could be are so close and threaded into Trump's world, American government, the British sort of, society, Western society, Saudi. They're all so threaded and into the higher echelons that the problem then becomes everyone must have known. And then it becomes weird kind of comparison, but then it becomes the Jimmy Savile story, because regardless of what people have said in British media, everyone knew the Jimmy Savile story. There was a conspiracy of silence. There was a desire and a willingness to see it as fucking awful and odd, but so many people felt they could do nothing about it and didn't have proof. But it was the best shared, not best, but it was a well-known and well-documented. I remember when I was at film school, I went to Leeds to film an interview for someone for my graduation film. And as we walked, we were filming some shots in Leeds Park. The guy I was filming with, so we're talking about 1991. The guy I was filming with, who was about 2 years younger than me, he was 17. He pointed to the penthouse, which overlooked some park in Leeds. He said, "Oh, that's where Jimmy Savile's penthouse." And you know what he gets up to? Everyone, and he wasn't in television, this guy. Everyone just knew. So the problem with these files, I think, is that you release them, it's going to compromise so many people. And I wonder, I may as well flip up the headlines now. I wonder that this is the new headline everywhere. Trump tells Republicans to vote to release Epstein files in a reversal of his previous stance. And I think there's a good reason for this. I think what we're looking at here, Trump demands release of Epstein files in U-turn. US president says he has nothing to hide after signs of mass rebellion within his own party. I mean, this is an interesting point. Where's this? I'm not too sure. You might be a GHS-173 in the comments says the entire media class hates Trump, but they have nothing on it. I mean, that, you know, in a weird way, it does strike me as odd that nothing has come out yet, because surely if they had it, it would be there. And now Trump has done this reversal. I can't work out whether what's at work here is demanding the... So there's two things here. He demands the release of the Epstein files. Now, interestingly, if you listen to a podcast called The Rest is Politics US, Scaramouche and Catty K, is it? They both present, you know, American-looking news. It's like The Rest is Politics, but they do America. It's deeply ironic that Scaramouche, who used to be, I think, his PR representative or his PR man for 10 days, he was his media person in his first presidency. He said on The Rest is Politics, go and check out their podcast. It landed on Friday. He said that one of the few options left to Trump is, in a weird way, to step towards this controversy and say, release them in a sort of, the only way left to sort of look like he's just being transparent. It's kind of his only move left. Now, the fact that he's done this suggests either he listens to Scaramouche and The Rest is Politics US and he's taken his advice, or he's, so let's say, so there's that. And he's actually got to a point where he's thinking, I don't care if this compromises Israel, if it compromises all of the donors and all of the people in the higher echelons. This has now got to a point where it's Trump or them. Do you get me? This is like survival of the fittest. This is the one moment where Trump's like, okay, I'm literally on a knife edge here, and I've got to throw either everyone under the bus or I'm going to go down. And he's decided he's not going to go down. The other option is, of course, whatever files are going to be fundamentally released, if they're voted on and are released, have been doctored, redacted, controlled, removed, deleted, destroyed. I mean, none of us have got any real comprehension as to, you know, the troves. I mean, I know we heard was it Pam Bondi? We heard what's her face saying there's hours and hours of you know, really dodgy, awful footage, kid porn and stuff like that, terrible stuff. But we haven't got any real sense of what that is really. Do you get me? So what do you think, guys? Elon knows. Oh, Elon knows. Yeah, but name on the list doesn't mean anything. As we've discovered, it doesn't mean too much, does it? I just sent a clip to Nads this morning, and I said, I think I know what's up here. It's Israeli-connected donors and Americans that don't want the Epstein files released are putting pressure on Trump. And I think Trump has been put under pressure by Israel yet again. And I think Israel are calling the shots, and Israel are, and I wonder whether then again, there's also potentially a connection between Trump trying to get Netanyahu out of his corruption charges. And like, you know, Netanyahu and Israel are saying, if you can do that for us, we can make sure that this runs well for you. It's also dodgy, and people need to keep talking about the Israel connection. So Donald Trump last night said this, as I said on Friday on board Air Force One, House Republicans should now vote to release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide. And it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax perpetrated by radical left lunatics. One of the odd things, I mean, how do you account for such an about turn? How do you account for such a handbrake turn? Either he's cutting everyone loose. He's gonna just let people go down all around him, whether it be donors, whether it be AIPAC, whether it be, you know, high connected financial people, whatever. Or is he really, really confident that if he was in the files, he's now not in the files, or that he was never in the file, or he's not in the files, as MeTubers for you know, everyone a day suggested. Maybe he, you know, whether we like it or not, whatever you think of Trump, he may well know, and he may well be connected by an unfortunately horrible misogynistic attitude to women, but perhaps he hasn't. Perhaps there is no compromising material. Gabrielle, he won't have them released unless he can get them amended to not implicate him in any way. Whatever info is released, it will be done to make Trump look like he's the good guy. We are in a situation though now, aren't we? And we are in a it's quite kind of funny that his social media platform is called Truth Social. We are in such a post-truth world. I mean, we've got a vote happening today at the United Nations to retrospectively, in essence, this isn't the wording of it, but what it will seek to do, in essence, is retrospectively legalize the genocide of Gaza in order to install and instate an American international security force to manage the affairs of Gaza whilst Israel and America chop it up and sell it off. You know, this is post-truth. It's like you can feel the world's governments. I mean, Germany is about to start selling weaponry again back to Israel. Everyone is wanting to go, oh God, you know, that awful genocide thing that happened in those 2 years. Just forget that. Let's eclipse that with other stuff. The normalization and the desire to get away from the horror of what's happened in the last 2 years. And I'm telling you right now, I've said it so many times, and I keep saying it until I die. The go slow, not even go slow, the go still approach of our government, of the American government, of European governments against Israel's aggression in Gaza is inextricably entwined with a constant global fear by all nations of what intelligence Israel has. And as Michu's often said in the chat room here, Israel's ability and infiltration of many of the West's military systems, security, technology. So we are forever in a compromised relationship with Israel. So whilst Israel is at the moment telegraphing to the world, we will become self-sufficient and be able to make our own weapons, the rest of the world really needs to. If America is moving away from this idolatory relationship with Israel, it needs to kind of disentangle everything. And I would recommend that we too need to disentangle our military, disentangle our intelligence out of, you know, like at Christmas, when you take the Christmas lights off a Christmas tree and you've got that fucking nightmare of about 2 hours of twisting them out and taking the Christmas lights out and then folding them around a bit of cardboard because you saw on YouTube some guy do it and it gets floppy and then it all goes wrong and then next year it doesn't. We need to do that with Israel. We need to they're the Christmas lights, and we need to disentangle them from everything that they've become like Velcro. They've become attached to everything in our system. Safe Science says, what difference does it really make to anyone if he is in the list or not? Damage has been done. We need to move deeper towards the next thing, and we know it's not just Israel. Is it? What is it? What is it if it's not just Israel? What is it? Tell us. I do find and I'm not saying this of you, Safe Science, thank you for your comment, but so often I find it frustrating when people go, oh yeah, but what if it's, and then they never, it's kind of like, give us the spoiler. So all of the papers, well, yeah, all of the papers, the conventional mainstream media, Trump demands release of Epstein files in U-turn. Trump tells Republicans to vote to release Epstein files. He's instigated an investigation into Democrats. Some are saying Trump's investigation into Epstein ties to the Democrats could be a smokescreen. Interesting that, because they're right, because in the process of tying the Epstein files up in an investigation of the Democrats, some of the files could then become unreleasable. That's clever, isn't it? Let's tie some of the evidence up in another trial or another investigation. I tell you what are they called? Was it the COVID? I tell you what, inquiries. I've come to the conclusion that inquiries are tools that governments use to not deal with anything, to let the news machine move on, to let the heat felt around something die down, and for absolutely fuck all to change. I fucking hate inquiries. As soon as I hear anyone say, yeah, okay, well, we'll do an inquiry, you're like, oh, fuck off. Yeah, it's the official cover-up. It's the kind of end game of tying a neat sort of bow over the top of it. It's like, oh, all right, okay, now you all need to shut up. Hate the inquiry word. So it's not the kind of headline you expect. See, going back to BUBBA, Trump, quote, did not perform sex act on Bill Clinton, unquote, insists Epstein's brother. Paedophile financier's sibling referenced photos of Republican president blowing BUBBA. Newly released emails show. I mean, I can't even fathom. You can't fathom anything. Oh, it's just ridiculous. And of course, you know, Trump's, you know, because the whole Venezuela distraction, I think he's keeping the potential for war with Venezuela is just there on the side in case the Epstein thing keeps, you know, the lid is blown off the boiling pot of water, which it is. Let's face it, it is. He's like waiting for the right moment to declare war on Venezuela. And Venezuela, they're all like, what the fuck's going on over here, guys? We don't even supply that much drugs to your country. And meanwhile, US aircraft carrier arrives in Caribbean to confront Maduro. Trump signals possible talks with Venezuela's president as military buildup continues. It's just all so weird, isn't it? It's all just so weird. Okay, sorry, that's another. Oh, yeah, but look, Danny fucking Price. So look, just when you think there's Epstein, there's Trump, teeny tiny Tommy finds himself in the Epstein files. Look at this. Danny fucking Price on Instagram has pulled together this carousel over the weekend. It was revealed that teeny tiny Tommy, also known as Stephen Yaxley Lennon, got name dropped in the newly released Epstein files. Tommy Robinson, good work. There he is. Look, it says, although lacking context, the email exchange between Trump ally Steve Bannon and Epstein was likely in reference to Bannon meeting teeny tiny Tommy, which took place in 2018, while there were talks about Steve Bannon wanting to help frame teeny tiny Tommy as a symbolic figurehead of right-wing free speech. Teeny tiny Tommy is the fucking backbone of this country, says Steve Bannon, a man who looks like he's drunk a bit too much, if I'm honest. He just looks a bit tired. I don't know about you, but the idea of Jeffrey Epstein mentioning Tommy Robinson, says Danny fucking Price, is fucking mad. But it will come as no surprise that the world's most prolific nonce was supportive of one of the world's biggest grifters. Their values are clearly aligned. And then do go over to Danny fucking Price, his Instagram account, because then he runs through a number of associates of teeny tiny Tommy, such as this guy, Billy William or Billy Charlton. Very much a sort of, there he is, shaking hands, giving the V sign with teeny tiny Tommy. He was convicted of distributing indecent images of children. Then there's Richard Price, leading member of the English Defence League, who was convicted of making indecent images of children. So it's important to remember that teeny tiny Tommy hangs out with, or used to hang out with, these people, is mentioned in the Epstein files, because the next time he's standing there going, keep our children safe, just maybe ask him if that was appropriate when he was shaking hands with convicted porn creators and paedophiles. Keep our children safe. Keep our women and children safe. Just keep all our children and women safe. I just don't understand that. You either want everyone to be safe from everything, or do you just mean you want them safe from dirty foreigners rather than good old British pervs? See, I think what Danny fucking Price's post here and what the connection with teeny tiny Tommy with Epstein proves is that what teeny tiny Tommy's saying is it's all right to be a British perv, but you can't be a foreign perv. Tommy Robinson, teeny tiny Tommy Robinson. That's who it is, Murder She Wrote. So, do you get me? That's why when I'm sure some of, supporters of teeny tiny Tommy, in fact, I know there are, saying, oh, he says good things, you misrepresent him, you don't say the right thing. Oh, no, you're not getting him right. No, maybe not. Maybe not giving him all the time and air and oxygen that one needs to, and perhaps in order to kind of break down the analysis and blah, blah, blah. But actually, it's why we bang on a lot about all grooming gangs are bad, not just Pakistani ones. And all abuse of children is bad, not just the abuse of children by asylum seekers or, migrants or alleged migrants, etc. And I just think, it doesn't take a genius. In fact, I now know a few toddlers who could easily wrap their head around this and go, oh, right, so really you've only got an issue with this lot who are pervs. So I just think it's interesting that teeny tiny Tommy is mentioned in the Epstein files as kind of like a good bloke. He's like, no suggestion that he's Bubba, so don't worry about that. There is no suggestion at all that he is Bubba. So I'm just tidying up my my front thingy-majig here. Let's just talk briefly here. Marjorie Taylor Greene, huge supporter of Trump, advocate for MAGA. Trump turns on one of his most fervent supporters in row over Epstein files. Marjorie Taylor Greene says her life is in danger after president called her a ranting lunatic traitor. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, you'll probably remember her. She was the one that we played a clip of when Trump was campaigning to win the presidency. She was the one who kind of did the incredibly vicious, splenetic takedown of a Sky reporter, hurling abuse at them and saying your country and all this kind of stuff. She's kind of become a moderate, and she's a huge advocate and representative for the victims of the Epstein files. And there's going to be a press conference tomorrow. The vote is happening in America tomorrow, so it's going to be big news tomorrow. And so we will definitely be focusing on that. But yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying she feels very now unsafe. She feels that Trump has kind of put a target on her back. And I'm just going to play this clip from Trump off air.
Her life could be at danger because of the rhetoric.
Her life is in danger? Who's that?
Marjorie Taylor Greene, he says.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't think her life is in danger. Frankly, I don't think anybody cares about her. Okay, what about you?
Marjorie Taylor Greene. I have to confess, I don't like the names he gives people, but they're very clever. I mean, you know, within the rarefied, I like that word, rarefied. I've never heard it before. It's quite rare. I think I'm quite rare in the rarefied confines of my mind. It's quite good. It's quite good. Trump gets cross by Air Force One, but he keeps being asked about the Epstein file. I mean, how outrageous of everyone to keep asking him about the biggest news story in the world.
Senator Massey says he's concerned that the Epstein probe you are calling for could be a smokescreen to block the release of more files. Is that the case?
Well, I don't want to talk about it because fake news like you're a terrible reporter, and fake news like you, they just keep bringing that up to deflect from the tremendous success of the Trump administration. So a guy like Massey, his poll numbers are showing he's at 6% approval rating right now. And we call him Rand Paul Jr. because he never votes for the Republican Party. So they're using Jeffrey Epstein as a deflection from the tremendous success that we're having as a party.
Do you remember it was a hoax? Do you remember there are no files? But now he said vote to release the files. I mean, there are so many inherent contradictions in everything he's saying that it beggars belief. Here's part of Marjorie Taylor Greene on CNN.
Posted just yesterday on X. You questioned who and what country is putting so much pressure on Trump to keep the Epstein files hidden. And you included a picture about donations from pro-Israel lobbying group AIPAC. What are you trying to say there?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's the question that many Americans are asking, especially when we saw information recently come out in these emails that the Oversight Committee that I serve on has released. And we saw Jeffrey Epstein with ties to Ehud Barak. We saw him making business deals with them, also business deals that involved the Israeli government, and seems to have led into their intel agencies. And I think the right question is to ask is, was Jeffrey Epstein working for Israel? And I'm proud to say I don't take money from AIPAC. I don't take money from any special group of people. I'm just representing my district and the American people. And so that's what I was referring to.
I just want to be clear. Are you saying Israel is pushing the president of the United States to cover up the Epstein files? And what evidence do you have that that is the case?
I simply just asked out loud, is there a foreign government? And it could be any foreign government, but is a foreign government pushing to keep this covered up? Because people just don't understand the big fight against.
Well, you had AIPAC up there. It was pretty clear which government you were talking about.
Work it out, CNN.
That I'm questioning that government in particular and questioning any other foreign government.
You see, what you've got to understand is even the Democratic left. I mean, the idea that you call the Democrats left in American politics is a joke. The Democrats are a sham. The Democrats are an absolute hideous embarrassment to the concept of progressive or left wing. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. The Democrats are as complicit and as instrumental in propping up the Israeli Zionist regime and being completely bought out by AIPAC, the Israeli lobby groups, as the Republicans. The Republicans, I would say the Republicans in a weird way are just more transparent about it, whereas the Democrats try to pretend that they're reasonable and are covert and all the rest of it. Look, CNN is no fucking exception. You know, but you mentioned, yeah, so she's saying it's Israel. Come on, let's all just fucking take our tops off and just go, yeah, it's Israel. Israel is culpable. Israel is connected. The guy, Jeffrey Epstein, would fly around on his private jet with an IDF t-shirt on. It's pretty damn obvious. I mean, how many more smoking guns and emails and texts and relationships? And it was an intelligence asset for Israel. That's it. End of. That's the story. Therefore, the entire Epstein file story is inextricably entwined with Israeli control of American government and American foreign policy. It, by extension, because we are the 51st, 52nd, whatever state of America, us, Britain, the GIMP, America's GIMP, certainly in the form of Keir Starmer, we just go with the flow and we are caught up in the backwash of the Epstein files because, of course, we've got fucking royalty involved. And I'd like to know in a little bit more detail just exactly what Keir Starmer, who was, let's not forget, knighted. He was knighted. He is Sir Keir, knighted for presiding over the Crown Prosecution Service, an organization where he will have the intersection, the place where all prosecutions converge. I'd love to know what Keir Starmer actually knows, how much he knows about how many people in senior positions. Not suggesting he's done anything untoward, but I'd just like to know how much he knows and how successfully he was installed when he has such zero charisma, capacity, leadership, nous. He was just placed in power. Isn't that weird? We get a Labour Party for the first time in however many years, and we have him. We have that GIMP. So Israel is at the heart of this. Don't have, people who want to kind of, deflect. No, sorry, and that's one of the reasons they don't want the files to be released, whether Trump's in them or not, whether Trump's absolutely in a photograph doing whatever or not. He's protecting, the whole thing is about protecting the sinister cabal that is at the heart of all of this. And on that note, what we do lose sight of in all of this are the victims. And I want to play you now a really moving short film that Epstein's victims have posted or uploaded, or it's doing the rounds. I'm just going to play it to you. You have a listen. Survivors of Epstein have a message. Believe survivors. And for those of you listening, looking at
I suffered so much pain.
So much pain.
So much pain.
I suffered so much pain. I was 14 years old.
I was 16 years old.
I was 16.
17.
14 years old.
This is me.
This was me.
This is me.
When I met Jeffrey Epstein.
This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein.
There are about 1,000 of us.
It's time to bring the secrets out of the shadows. It's time to shine a light into the darkness.
And for those of you listening that say, do come over and watch it, it's a sort of rolling montage of various victims standing, holding photographs of their younger selves. It says at the end there, 5 administrations we've had, and there's been no release of the files. And it says throughout, believe the survivors. Powerful. And we are going to be hearing from the survivors again this week. So, I do genuinely think that the shift, or the U-turn, as we're calling it, in Trump's kind of suggestion to, is the Republicans to release the files. This is inordinate pressure. But what we have to be careful of and what we need to be mindful of here is how the pressure builds to a place where who are the scapegoats and what's still being concealed. Because I can't believe that we're going to just, Shangri-La, have it revealed, oh, all these people, oh my God, right, let's start the prosecuting. Oh, right, Israeli intelligence was behind this. Okay, well, we really now need to question Aaron. But I don't think, that would be the normal course of events if normal people were running the situation. But, the likeliness of that is very, very slim. But I thought that was an incredibly moving piece. Just quickly, I just want to pivot now to Gaza and the situation in the Middle East. Latest updates from the Middle East are, as I referenced or mentioned earlier, the United Nations Security Council is set to vote today on a US drafted resolution that seeks to essentially bolster or support Donald Trump's Gaza peace plan, and especially the deployment of an international force. This, as I say, seeks to, in many ways, kind of retrospectively legitimize everything that's happened, because it simply is forward-looking. It's that classic age-old argument that Boris Johnson would use about Brexit. Who are you? Project Fear. Don't be Project Fear. Don't be such a nay person. Be more of a yay person. I mean, what the world is wanting us all to do is why cry over spilt milk? Why keep focusing on what went wrong and what was done? We need to look forward. Well, look forward if you're a billionaire, an American, or an Israeli. It's very hard to look forward if you're Palestinian and your farm has been decimated and your industry, your business, and your family and everyone you know has been killed. Very hard. So that vote is happening today. It's a spurious vote. The only countries that have the veto on this are China and Russia. It will be interesting to see if they block it. So that US vote is happening. That UN vote is happening today. There are reports again this morning of heavy helicopter gunfire by Israeli helicopters near Khan Yunis. And Hamas, a spokesman for Hamas, has said of the US resolution coming to the UN that this draft resolution doesn't serve any stability in the Gaza Strip. It only serves those who are seeking to control the Palestinians. I mean, I talked on Saturday and I showed maps, and it was just quite disgusting and awful. Just of how the green zone versus the red zone, and how Israel and America now have control of over half of the Gaza Strip. We now simply have an even smaller Gaza Strip with Israeli control of the north and south borders. So we have a truly kettled, penned in, concentrated population, a concentration camp of sorts. So it's a total stitch-up resolution, Arsenal Trill. They want to rush it through. If it gets voted through, when you think of how often the Americans have vetoed everything, but look at the relish with which they want to get this through, so they can start building. Let's drill, build. God, lots of money in it for all of those property magnates and all of those Zionists who've already bought up slots of land in Gaza. Awful. And then, as I promised, the Labour's asylum solution, just quickly. The headline that I find rather sort of, I don't know, I found this quite sort of shocking. I don't know what you guys, have I got the headline here? I think I might have the, maybe I don't have the headline. No, I don't. The headline that I found quite shocking regarding this is Shabana Mahmood, don't mention her name, unforgivable Home Secretary who, her behavior around Palestine and is just unforgivable. She's bringing in what they hope will be some radical and troubleshooting solutions based on the Danish or the Denmark's approach to migration and asylum seeking. She's bringing in, they're quite strong, they're quite severe. I mean, some of the main issues that they're bringing in are, number one, people with refugee status could be forced to return home when that country becomes safe. Number two, people granted asylum will have to wait much longer now to become UK citizens. Number three, Ukrainians, of which I think there are 250,000, who were welcome to the UK, would have to return to Ukraine, especially if things have in any way settled down over there. The removal of automatic benefits, the use of AI to establish age, and new legal routes to the UK to be introduced. But one of the headlines that spilt through, which is not particularly good, was Asylum seekers' jewellery could be seized to pay for processing costs, says Home Office Minister. This then kind of caused a bit of a, like, what are you going to do? So as soon as someone who's seeking asylum comes off a boat or lands in the country, you're going to take their wedding ring. So that the government are now trying to draw a distinction between taking, if someone arrived with a bag of rings, gold rings, this is a very odd conversation, right? They'll take the bag of gold rings and use that as money to process their deportation or process their claim. But as some are asking, well, so what? It feels like you're saying if someone arrives with a wedding ring, would you take the wedding ring? And so, but I think they're trying to stress that there's a clause. If you arrive with an heirloom, they won't take that. Do you see how I just find it really unedifying how we are talking about just this? The Labour Party is talking about just this, when this really isn't just this, the cause of everything that's making most people's lives unaffordable and unmanageable. It just isn't. I'm sorry. You just numerically, it just isn't. And so Labour, once again, this whole kind of, whether it's the Danish system, whether it's the Rwanda system, whatever system they're bringing in place, they need to be able to process the claims quicker. The quicker you process any asylum claims, the cheaper it is to the country in question, and the speedier you get a result, and the speedier you either get a successful asylum seeker who then contributes to the economy, or you get one that's deported back to the country from which they came. Just speed up the process. I mean, but this constant red meat being hurled around is just beyond shocking. It's just beyond shocking. And now I'm going to play you a final clip just to go out on a funny. This is obviously, this is a, I don't know if anyone's been following the Wicked press push, and it is very odd. I mean, we enjoyed the first film. We're looking forward to the second. Huge fans of, I thought Cynthia Erivo was sensational. We thought Ariana Grande was great too. But their sort of manner on the press push and in all the junkets is incredibly intense, isn't it? I mean, I think for some people it's just a little bit too much, a bit too saccharine, and they're constantly sort of fiddling with each other. And I mean, obviously there was a situation last week where, I think in Singapore, someone ran at Ariana and Cynthia Erivo got in, and it was all very dramatic. But in other sort of more sedate settings, they're sort of playing with each other's necklaces and sort of adjusting things and stroking each other and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, I just thought this might tickle you.
Some hard questions. Let's not get emotional like your other interviews.
How hard do you think they are?
And nothing crazy. I'm just going to ask some personal questions.
Oh, okay.
Ariana, were you forced to date Pete Davidson? I feel like you can do a lot better.
My goodness. Oh, sorry. You almost got me, but I'm okay.
I'm sorry, why do you guys keep touching each other? Are you guys going out?
I'm a person, and I feel, and I have feelings, and I can share them.
Cynthia, are you worried that people might confuse you with Will Smith's wife with that hairstyle?
Why am I feeling emotional about that? Because it's true.
Do you guys need a moment? Oh.
Then if you need to cry right now, you cry. Yeah. And
Okay, well, we're done. Well, my time is up. I've heard the movie absolutely sucks, but thank you for your time, ladies. I appreciate it.
You have been the light of the day. You are such a gift.
You brought such light into the room. Thank you very much.
Anyway, on that note, lots of love, guys. Content coming. Something will be landing on the channel later, and the Sunday show will be Wednesday evening this week. We will confirm the time, and for those of you in the higher echelons of the membership area, the cook-along is on the 29th. The poll is in the community tab or posts tab if you go along the top at the homepage of the channel, and you can vote for either, I think it's a sticky toffee pudding or a sausage plat, festive sausage plat. Anyway, guys, lots of love. See you tomorrow. But now it's a birthday. See you in the morrow. Bye.